Good evening, everyone. So after a long time, so we got an appointment with attorney Mary Kennedy. So today is our lucky day, I can say. Maybe, in order to get her appointment, some miracles need to happen. So UCS did that miracle. So we finally got her time. So with that, would like to welcome attorney Mary Kennedy and her staff, Radhika. And, we have other 30 plus folks on the line. Good evening. Yeah, good evening, everyone. So we welcome you all for this live session or live talk show on recent immigration upgrade. Recent uses visa bulletin, and we'll go with the kind of impact and what is this what is this visa bulletin is all about and current impacts, and we're going to talk more about it. So without any further ado, welcome, Mary.
Sure. Thanks, Raj. Good evening, everyone. I'm just glad to be, part of this. As Raj said, it's not about the busy or any schedule of it. It's only the, sometimes you lose the continuity, I would say. I love to be there for any session, Raj. So I think we have to keep it going because when I was just looking at it, there are so many things we can really share with, and educate. And that is something, I love to do it. So probably we should be doing it more often.
Time is the key. Time is the essence here, right? Yes.
Right. Yeah. That's good. That's right.
Good. Good. So we have 30 plus folks here on the line, and so let's start with the what this visa bulletin is talking about. Let's start with the kind of analysis. I know many people are frustrated or
that's right.
visiting a lot of temples, doing a lot of prayers, breaking coconuts to see the numbers pushed back to a lot of retrograded now. What is this all about? So why is this happening? Why is this happening to me only? Right? So there are a lot of questions happening like this. So let's start with that.
So yeah, I was also, when preparing for this, evening session and everything, I was just going through some of the data to, just give as much as input of my thoughts and everything. As a disclaimer, as we all know, this is not, even though they might have been our clients, even some of them, I see them being part of the call. But I really wanted to say that this is not applicable to any particular situation. This is a very general talk that's going to be, there's no legal advice that cannot be taken as something, related to them, even though the facts might relate to them personally. Okay. So with that disclaimer, we'll go back to the, the situation. This is not something I would say, this is very expected. But only thing is, it was a big surprise when it went to 2012. That's a bigger question. Why and what was the reason for USCIS to go back to that of 2012 from 2014 of EB2. So when we were looking into the data and everything, right, even the last year, October 2021, it reflects the same what happened as of now currently. That's what we see that. And, given the situation with a positive note, if we have to say that, it's not going to be that worse for the people who already was able to file their 485s. That's a very one good question, might not be something, everybody wants to hear about it. The reason being there are other people who are very close to the cutoff date that happened. And so what happens, how long are they going to wait? And all those is a big question that's going to be there. On top of it, if you look into it, right, this is very expected. And so hopefully in the coming months, once they are able to get the data of what has happened, how many are approved, even though the approved data will definitely be there with them. So there is, because of the EB3 and the EB2, right, earlier it was very fast forward movement of the EB3 that happened in 2020. And then after that, the 2021 and the 22 was a bigger, very, forward movement for the EB2s actually. So with this and so the unfortunate situation, which I feel very, it might, most of them in the call is going to be someone who has not received the green card yet, the 485 being not approved yet. So those are the, I assume that's what they are going to be. So the unfortunate thing which I see over here is, there are people, there was no any first in and first out was not the process that was adopted by USCIS. There were people who were very diligent enough to, they said, let me go ahead and file a 485. Again, even though there was a downgrade case, they want to do it again on the 485 EB2 as well. And then they did an interfiling. And for most of them, it was fortunately they got it approved if you look into the data, whereas people who chose to do, even though it was advised by USCIS in January of 2022, that they prefer to do an interfiling with the new 485J to be added with the filing as well. So there was a lot more of, and there was some service center who were very good in approving the cases, whereas the others were not. So with all these, that was the unfortunate situation that you see it. Some of them, even though that has been, in September of 2014, they got approval, whereas people who had been waiting, even though the percentage might be a little lower, and then they had been waiting in 2013. So that was not the proper, the filing dates or anything they couldn't adapt. But one thing you have to appreciate is they didn't waste any visa for this year, whereas last year there was 60,000 that got wasted. So for the people who had filed, who had an opportunity to file, right? So for them, I would say, you have a better chance, at least there is some movement that is definitely to be expected in the coming months, even though the spillover is not going to be that great when compared to 2020 and 2021. Still, we are going to be having it. I would stop, Raj. I think I'm just going with the flow of too many things. Probably I'll just wait for.
So that's good. So we'll come to the questions, and before it's always good to have the background details first, right? So I think we are good. So please continue with that.
Yeah, sure. With that in mind, right, I do see, some of them had a very valid question who were able to just send it to us. Even I would say just go with Rajesh question, and then you can split it. And then if you ask me, then I will be able to, just address it properly.
Yeah. So I think one of the first question that what we received is from, one second.
So I would say let's focus on the 485 questions. There were some other questions which, I would say I will talk to them, or I'll just get them connected tomorrow or something, and I'll go with it, Raj.
Okay, so yeah.
Sorry, is there any change with the family-based the EB1 category for the I-485?
EB1 and family-based, I'm sorry, I'm just a little confused here. Yeah, maybe we'll just wait for the questions. Sorry.
So may I know who's talking? Yeah, maybe we'll start. Okay, sorry.
Tamil Selvi.
Hey, Tamil Selvi. Yeah. So can you elaborate your question?
No, the I-485. So it's a EB1 category. Is there any change in that? I saw the visa bulletin for EB2 and EB3. There are dates are changed, but is there any changes on the EB1?
Okay, so you're in. Is it a primary? You're the primary applicant for the EB1.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. There's if you look into the October bulletin, EB1, even though it's unavailable for September, which USCI has announced recently, there's no visa that's available for whatever the category, doesn't matter, EB1. But if you look into the October, it is current, so you don't have a problem. Like as long as your case is to be adjudicated, you'll be getting the approval of your 485.
Okay, so we'll start with Rajesh Vasudevan. So his question is, it seems here it looks like he applied his EB2 I-145, I-485 in May 2022, and also went for biometrics in June 2022. After that, he did not find any updates. It seems like with the recent visa bulletin, the dates have retrograded to 2012. So now his question is, what will happen to his I-485? Will that be pending status from October? Is there any chance that he will get a EAD, or do you have to wait until the final actions become 2014 in the next cycle, right? Whenever that next to happen. So that's his question.
Yeah, so to make it very clear, the basic understanding is, so how you get benefited when you filed your 485 is, like irrespective of the dates getting retrogressed or the date of, final action dates are retrogressed or any other situation, you will have your 485 pending. It, however many years it's going to take, even 10 years, 15 years, doesn't matter. And your EAD, as soon as you get your EAD, and the validity is going to be the same for the people who had been filing, and then, you don't have any issue. Even though we advise in most situations to maintain your non-immigrant status, and if it's with the same employer you're planning to continue, then we always say that continue with your non-immigrant, maintain your non-immigrant status, because that 485 has its own other limitations towards it. So in that case, we always advise it. But EAD is not a problem. Definitely, Rajesh, you're going to get your EAD approved, and your AP is also going to be approved. And definitely, that's not going to affect the dates getting retrograded or the final action date's going to move back. So it's not at all a problem. You still have your 485 being pending.
I hope, Rajesh, you got the answer. On the similar lines, I think Abrar mentioned another question. So it seems his 485 interview is scheduled on October 7th, 2022, and his priority date is April 2014. So now this retrogressy, does it have any impact on his 485?
Yeah, that's a good question. See, we, I was, so many interviews we had been attending in the recent past 2-3 weeks, and on the phone, or even I attended in person. I don't know whether he's on the call, Surendra, helping him out in the Chicago office the last week. So the unfortunate situation is, like, even though the interview, which is the final stage, which is expected on the 485, you got to complete your interview because of the visa numbers not available. You're not going to get the approval of the green card, but all your file, the documentations related to the filings and a process and everything is going to be completed, but still you'll be waiting for the final action dates to be current. Till then, you're not going to get the green card. And for people who are in the interview schedule, there is a possibility because of the, you're in April of 2014, which is a little longer way. And so many situations, there is a purpose for the interview to be conducted and you're called for. So in that case, there is a very minimum possibility, depending on the situation, they are going to cancel the interview and then trying to say that, your file will be reviewed at a later point of time when the final action dates are going to be considered. So there is a possibility, but I would say if you have a scheduled interview, no matter what, you need to go for it because it will be considered abandoned. In that case, you don't go for the show for the interview, thinking that, oh, anyway, my dates are not current. What am I going to do? No. And any biometrics that has been scheduled, everyone has to go for it. And so in that case, now with the same situation, right? It's going to be that the interview will be completed and you'll be waiting for your green card approval till the dates get current.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, so I would request Radhika, can you take some of the questions and start asking to Mary?
Can I ask a question, please?
Okay, sure.
So my brother has, his filing was March 2015 and they were very close to it. But now since it's retrogressed, any idea when he would be able to get, because he and his wife got a job in Maryland, and they were about to come here from India, but just because of this, they are not sure and they are basing their decision on the green card. So any idea when, in the next how many years he would be able to get it?
I'm sorry, I hope I have an answer for it. I know, I didn't get your name, but it's going to be, even though it seems to be very close, that's what we were expecting. The reason being, right, so USCIS had said there are 39,000, if I'm right, that has been filed for cases are still pending with them. So with this extra spillover for this year, even though 60,000 is there, it's nowhere going to help because it's only for the EB2 they were stating. And then I think if I'm right, 24,000 or some odd numbers are there still, which has been applied for. You mean, you mean to understand that for the cases, which, for the EB3, it went, the last was on January of 2014. And EB2 was at December of 2014. In that case, all the pending cases will be adjudicated when they have to move forward after the January of 2015 for EB, and then EB2 as EB3 as well. So I don't think there is any possibility at this point of time to have hope on the cases that can be filed. So unless they pass all these, this cases which has been already applied for, they have to adjudicate these cases, and then only they can be doing it with a very minimum. Even the 60,000, I know what they're saying is not official. So I was also looking at one of their September 9th memo. It doesn't talk about the numbers of the spillover, but definitely from the family base, there is going to be. But, March 2015 has a very limited hope. I do have some hope in the sense see, so many people who applied for the, EB, the downgrades that happen, right? So USCIS can have, for one individual, so it's not going to be, the A number will be EB3 and EB2 depending on this one. But again, once they get the approval of the green card, so if they have applied it in EB3 and then that was counted as a downgrade, and then, when they get approved on the EB2, I'm sorry, is it?
Can I ask a question?
No, actually, 1 second, Raj,
Okay,
I think mute and then probably allow them to do that. Yeah, so, so that's something, I'm sorry, I think I lost my continuity. Okay, so, yeah, right, so all these are there. So even with that forward movement, and also I said, some of them, I know some of them got, even though they had a priority date of October of 2014. So in that case, right, but however, some of them in 2013 has been pending, and even 2012, there are some cases to be pending. So there is no, the datas are not that clear. So they have to sort it out. That's what I think last year they did, waiting for the datas to be properly done. And then they came up in January to, encourage everyone, because they said they have a lot more of EB2s that are all pending actually. So we have to wait for it, but March 2015 has less hope, in my opinion.
So in the next 2, 3, 4 years, can we expect something or no?
I would say yes. The reason is because already they had been moving back and forth over here till 2014. So probably at least 3, 4 years actually.
So
Yeah, hi.
they
This is
I for
See,
I
actually, you have to allow others, for one question, if you're going to be spending more time onto that, because always we have multiple questions related to the same. So just getting an idea, probably that will help.
Let me add a point here. So,
Hi.
If you have any questions, feel free to, detail and which needs more iterations, feel free to send an email. When in the chat window, specify your email or phone number. So we have Radhika here or myself, so we'll reach out to you and we can have a more detailed conversation. So, but I think if it is taking more time, so definitely we can do that. Right? Because we have around 50 plus folks on the line. So, it's just respect each and everyone's time. I hope everyone is okay with that. And I think next we can go with Piyush.
Hey, hi, Mary. How are you?
Yeah, good, Piyush. Go ahead.
Hey, Mary. Just it's a little off topic, but I thought let me confirm with you. So I changed my employer on EAD before my green card got approved. So now my green card got approved. So do I have to file the 485J with the new employer?
Oh, so you got your green card. I'm sorry, you got your EAD approved, you're saying, right?
So EAD got approved. I changed the employer. I went to a new employer. And after that, my green card got approved. So do I have to file a new 485J with the new employer?
No. Actually, the green card, once the green card gets approved, that has nothing to, that's 485J is very irrelevant. So, yeah, so you got the approval of the green card. So nothing, I will take your question tomorrow or something, Piyush. You don't have to do anything, and I'll talk to you about this.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, thank you, Mary. Really
You
appreciate it.
don't have to do any 485J, just be clear on that, okay?
Okay, thank you.
One question.
Maybe this is time for you to party, Piyush. Sorry.
Sorry?
Yeah,
It's
the
time for
question
you to
is,
party.
Yeah, definitely. We can schedule something up. I'm happy to do it. It's I waited a long time, so it's worth it. And really appreciate your time, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So someone is asking question. So
yeah, Radhika here. Ma'am, one question is, I received GC, but status showing duplicate notice was mailed. I didn't receive any mail. Can we ignore it?
I received the GC, the green card actually, right? The
Yes.
card received, and then the online status shows that, like duplicate notice
was mailed.
has been received. Okay, yeah, then online status sometimes is a little more irrelevant, but whatever you have it, I would definitely go, with the green card that you have it in hand, just to make sure, right? Just it doesn't harm to give an, this customer service or Emma's there, just to have an, like just to ask them to change the status, the online status actually. But the green card that is in hand should be, a valid approval.
Another question. I got my EAD approved, but AP is not approved yet. Is there any way we can expedite AP?
See, yeah, that is happening recently. Earlier, they used to approve EADs and the AP on the same card, the back of it, right? So AP has some, they have to check on little more details than the than the EAD card. And the only way the AP can be expedited is if you have a valid reason. The better option is to give a call to the USCIS. And, some people I know, they have an emergency situation, they have to go out of country, and then with the wait time on the appointments and everything, if you have a very valid reason, they are expediting the process. Actually, in between, they stopped expediting any EADs or the APs. The reason being they are more focused on to approve the 485s, and then they don't want to lose the visa numbers. That was one of the reasons they said we are not going to work on the EADs and the APs, whereas our focus, the USCIS stated that, we want to work on your 485. So now, if you still have not received, and if it's substantial time, I would say just call them and then get it expedited.
So before we go, to the next question from Radhika, I think we have Mithun here. Hey, Mithun. Mithun submitted the question from the drop down. So Mithun, do you want to ask the question?
Sure. Yeah, this is a little bit off the topic what you're talking here, but I am on L1B, intercompany transfer, and my I-94 is getting expired on October 9th, as well as my petition. But my wife is working on L2S, right? But what I understood is she will not be able to continue her working because her I-94 will also be kind of expired. So what are the options I have? Should I go with the premium processing and get an I-129 and cross the border, get an stamping offer for new I-94 within that stipulated time? Because she has a time until October 28th at the visa. So that's my confusion, how to proceed this.
See, actually, if you get your, for an L2, like if you get your I-94, right, it's the, only for the H4, they have to go back and then come back and then do it. So now, yeah, right, I got your question now. So the reason being, right, like, so even though L1B will be expedited on a premium processing, the L2 processing will be separate. And so she will not be able to get her approval copy. Yeah, that's correct. Like, so you cannot, the only problem is if you go across the country and then come back, there are situations they will, based on your L1B approval, they might issue an N94, but in some cases without a visa, because you don't have a visa, all that you have is an I-94, and then, like, so there are times the port of entry might not issue her a new I-94 as such, actually. So in that case, the only option it will be left to you is to go get a stamping, but you'll be eligible to, they won't stop you from entering back, actually. But I think, it's, you can, just, there are so many blogs where you can try to see that if there is some of the port of entries are very cooperative. This happens in many of the H4s as well. So, like when the primary gets approved of the this one, then the dependent, right? Like when they have to travel to India for any other reason, even though the old visa is only for a month, when they enter back, they show the H1B approval and then they get the extended I-94 actually. So that is something you have to just check it out and then do it actually.
Okay, and that's the only option available for me, right? Going
That's
out and
correct.
coming back for that.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's correct. Yeah. Or else you have to wait for them to process the, the
Yeah.
L, right.
Yeah, and the
I
last question,
think,
sorry. If
sorry,
I get
Mithun.
my premium processing, I understood it takes 15 days. Is that like dependence gets within a month, or again, it doesn't
Actually,
count
the
for?
earlier to process, the H1Bs and the H4s together before the biometric period of time. So now they completely stopped, because that's as a courtesy, because you don't pay any premium fees for the H4 or the L2s. So it's not like, because you're filing it on a premium processing, the primaries H1 or L1 doesn't guarantee that they will be processing or they are doing anything. So the only thing is so sometimes because of the delay with the primary, the dependence also gets delayed. That's the only thing that you are avoiding when you go for the premium processing. Other than that, you don't have much of a benefits. So like, if you have your approval, obviously you can travel out and then try to explore that option or get a visa stamping appointment and do it. Rather than that, there's no, there's nothing much just because your premium is getting filed.
Sure, thank you.
Next, I think we'll cover couple questions from the link now that submitted. One is from Jagdish Dutt and other one is from Ashish. So Jagdish's question is, when will EB2 date will move forward in future? So any anticipated move? And on the same line, this question is, any update on HR 3648 Eagle Act with the current government?
See, I really don't want to talk about that unless I, it's a very, very long way, right? They just go to they are about to get, passed and then it never happens. So let's talk about, the EB2 priority dates at least, right? So even though it's in 2012, as we discussed, right, not many, I would say, but there are many cases even from our office in 2013 and 2014 has been approved. So with that line, and then the new visa bulletin, the fiscal year has started in October of 2023. Obviously, there are new numbers. The only reason is they are trying to sort it out. All that happened with all that USCIS has been focused on till the October, September was because last year they wasted 60,000. So they don't want to miss that, again this year. That's one of the reasons they were very focused on to approve as much as cases and not to waste any numbers. So in that case, they are in the process of finalizing. So definitely I would see, even if there is a spillover of 60,000, it's going to definitely help at least, like people who had been able to file it, you will be getting it and you will see the moment definitely in 2023, a fiscal year, which is the October 2022. At least for, in the coming months, in November and December, you can see a forward moment of EB2 as well as the EB3 is going to be there because, they just had a very strong hold of, not moving the EB3s, which we should be seeing it because, most of the EB2s, which they downgraded and then they went back to the interfiling of the EB2, 2s, almost most of the cases got approved. So I am little more positive on that note. We'll be seeing a progress for people, moving forward to 2013. That's what I just definitely see, at least till early of 2014, it should move forward in the coming months.
And from Ashish is, since the dates are retrograded for EB2, again, so on the same lines, when can we expect the green card processing for March 2015?
See, the March 2015, as I said, right, see, if you, all that the hope is for the 2023, right, this definitely there's not going to be any spillover for 2024, means the 2023, 2024 October fiscal year will be considered as 2024. So there is not going to be, because the consulates have started functioning and there are so many family base that is getting moving forward in all the consulates. Every consulates are opened up. So yeah, we are not expecting any minimum numbers as well, because the family base as well has been stuck for the last 2-3 years, right? Like, so in that concern, like how it used to move forward, like, weeks and weeks time period, right? That's the only thing that you could expect. So probably definitely all these getting sorted out till 2014, and then, but definitely, the one good thing is going to be good or bad, right? Like people who had applied for the 485, they are, once they get it approved, obviously they are giving the space for the people to apply for it and move forward. So even though it seems to be very close, 2015 March, depending on if this question comes up, right, maybe in another 3-4 months, I can give a better answer now rather than now, being able to address it.
Question from Rajesh. Can I take a 3 to 6 month break on EAD AP and stay abroad, not employed and staying outside of the US with a valid EAD AP to come back?
Yeah, so the travel is always based on the advance parole. EAD has nothing to do with it, actually. So the advance parole, as long as you have a valid advance parole, and then, like you have a validity and you have a, like very limitedly at the port of entry, you might have to, because the 485, obviously, it's not like, intention to remain in US like a green card holder. If they can always be questioned about because they are a permanent resident. And when the USCR, the port of entry officers has a really large, when it comes to their decision making on a green card is very broad, actually. So sometimes people take it very lightly, but they have a very broad power to revoke your green card at any point of time. They know that you don't have an intent to reside as a permanent resident. But that's not the problem for an adjustment of status pending, because you have 485 pending. All that you have to do, you have to prove to them or talk to them is for any reason you had a valid reason to stay abroad, and then you have a valid advance parole. And that helps a lot, actually, even though your dates are going to move. For example, there were so many cases when they were out of country and then, they got their GC approved. And so they have to just come back on the advance parole. And the port of entry was very lenient about it. So I don't see that as much of a concern.
Hi, Mary. This is Sudhakaran from Florida.
Sure.
Actually, sorry?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, 2 years before, right? We had filed EB3. Like basically, we had downgraded from EB2 to EB3 on my wife's case. Like my wife as a primary and myself as a dependent, and it was there in Texas Service Center. And recently, like two and a half months before, we had filed my case as myself as a primary and my wife as a dependent through you, ma'am, in EB2 category. So all our applications are in National Benefit Center. So they had recently moved our EB3 cases from Texas Service Center from Texas to National Benefit Center, correct? So what I could see is like what I heard is like whatever it moved from like one place to other place. For example, in our case, Texas Service Center to NBC, right? So and I heard like visas have been already allocated. I don't know, because I had created multiple expedite requests and also service request. They said they will try to answer in a week or two. So do I have a hope that we'll get it, or because everyone is worried about like a retrogression, right? So
yeah, what's your priority?
August 2014, sorry. And my wife's priority date is November 2013.
Oh, November of 2013. Right.
Yeah, all our cases are in both EB2 and EB3 cases, 485 in Texas, National Benefit Center.
Okay, got it. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Actually, like even though the files are all up to date, even see for people who had completed their interview, right, so I don't see them. They could, because all that when I was there in the interview office, they said was like, we just, your file is almost complete. And so probably in a day or two, you should see an update on that, but I don't see that, which happened, and they were able to do it at the August, they were just issuing left and right, if you just go for the interview, in 2 days, you see the approval. So, but now, so the interview process has been completed. So all that they have to do is just get the visa numbers and then approve the case, because everything is completed. It would have been a straightforward filings in
Yeah, see,
most of
for me, they didn't call me for the biometrics because we already done with my wife's case. So I
Case,
think they considered that, and then they said they said like biometrics were taken already. So that is the final status we could see. So our next thought is like, okay, they are going to issue it. So
right.
again, it's going to be a big question mark.
Yeah, there is a lot of hope. And then when everything is complete, right, like, it's expected that, like the visa, like numbers should have been allotted for these approvable cases. And so, like whatever, so, but again, there is very, very, because if you look into it, even within our office, we have so many interviews being completed, and, everything has been completed. And, RFEs means there is a medical that has been submitted 2 weeks before. All that started pending from September, like end of August, all that we saw was before that. So by the time they were, even though officially it was not announced that there is no visa numbers, but prior to a week itself, they have all the cases, but they don't have the visa numbers. So, I'm sorry, but that's what the reality is, that, we have to understand there is no visa located at this point of time. There is very, very limited hope that, like you have been allocated a visa number, so that, they are just going to approve yours or your wife criteria might be the, like, see, they would have been considering that. The reason being, she has the earlier priority date, as well as hers was filed earlier. So all the completion of documentations onto that. So if it's it's switched between the filings of this and that, right? All that they consider to be only one filing. So, but I am sorry, I don't think there is going to be much hope unless the date of final action dates are going to be current, at least for your wife, into November of 2030.
Okay.
Hi,
So you said you.
Hi. Hey.
Okay, sorry.
This is
Good.
this is a question on CSPA. Can I go ahead?
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Go ahead, please.
Yeah,
Yes,
my name
Kumar.
is Kumar. Thanks for doing this, Raj and Mary. So my situation is like this. My PD is actually 2013 June priority date.
Mm-hmm.
So
On
and EB2, yep, EB2. And just as an FYI there, my 140 that time got approved. It took about 1.5 years because this is CSPA, so that's why I'm just mentioning that, so we
right.
keep that in
Okay.
mind
Sure.
in the question. Okay, so that is about 1 year 6 months we had that there,
So it was
which
an
I came to know.
which
I'm
you
sorry.
filed it in 2013, and you're saying it took 1.5 years for you to get your
1.5
I-140.
years, yeah, which I came to know very recently because my employer doesn't share 140, but through FYI recently I got this, and then I just came to know 1.5 years that I had there as a bank. Yeah, which I didn't know, unfortunately, in April this year, actually. Yeah, but I just want to go one by one, right? So that was my PD, right? June 2013, and that 140 took about 1.5 years to approve that time, right? And now, meanwhile, in 2020, there comes the hope, right? Because my first kid was already 20 years in 2020. Her date of birth year is 2000, actually. Okay. So she was already 20 in 2020, but there comes the hope, right? So then
With
I
the final
downgraded
years being
immediately.
added to that, right? Right.
No, because that EB2 was not useful by then, right? And I downgraded to EB3 in 2020.
Okay. All right.
Right? Yeah, in 2020, because that is when my final date came, my filing date came, right? In 2020.
Right.
Yeah. So then, I was able to file 485 for her, for the whole family.
Right.
And yeah, that all really helped because she got the EADA, she got the AP. And June 2021, she crossed at 21. But this EB3 really helped her to lock her age.
One second. So in June 2021, she reached 21. But again,
21.
Prior to June 2021, any point of time, your priority that the final action dates was current? on EB.
Yeah, on EB3. Yeah.
It was
So that
current.
it was current. It was
Yeah.
current, and my 140 also got approved.
Approved, right?
So
Yeah.
yes. So for EB3, right? For EB3.
Right.
Yeah. So she got covered under.
Yeah, your dates got her dates got locked actually, right? Yeah, right. Under
Correct.
the CSP,
Correct.
right?
Absolutely. She the CSP applied there and she became
Yeah,
safe.
right.
I was also very happy. All that is fine, right? And after that, November the 2021, the EB3 dates retrogressed, right? So
Right.
my date is not current anymore, but because she was already there, so she got logged, right? So she's safe with that EAD and AP, right? Now, I wanted to go back to EB2. I was exploring options because EB3 is not moving, EB2 was moving, right? So in April of this year, EB2 actually came current for my date.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Okay.
But
so I want, I wanted to go for TUB and 485J to file for EB2, but I never knew that I had 1.5 years of EB2 approval time, actually 1.5 years. Yeah. So that's why April. Yeah, that is when I started because my employer did not share any 140s. So then I applied FYI and I got my 140 that time, EB2 140, and I then realized recently that hey, I had 1.5 years.
Yeah, that's true. That can be added up.
Okay. For TUB, right? So now my question is, with a lot of speculations that EB2 will move faster compared to EB3, right? Because mind you, right? So my PD is June 2013. So if that is true, if EB2, but nobody can say that, but at least the speculations are around like that, right? So EB2 may move forward.
Okay, one quick second. Okay, I know like this is very long and people might not understand and that's not relevant for them, but this is very interesting and I just want to address this quickly, as much as possible. Okay, so one thing you have to tell me is, okay, so, so when you filed the intra-filing, right, the 485J, you filed it and then did it, right?
I did not do it. I did not do it.
Do it? Oh my God.
I did not do it. That's my question now, because, my PD is still current till September ending, right?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Today. Yeah. So I'm just wondering, should I have to do this TUB 485J or better off just to keep in EB3 itself? Because my kid is anyways safe.
See, the one thing you need to understand is, doesn't matter how many 485s are going to be filed. As long as you are able to pay the fees and then attorney fees, doesn't matter for USCIS. People get, thinking, oh, if I do multiple, it's not about the H1, like the H1Bs. Okay, so definitely you should go ahead and do it because your final action dates are, still current till September.
Still current.
So, right. You should do it. And don't worry about, just do the 485J and then you're into filing. And then let's, at later. So that helps definitely, the final is still, even though she crossed 21 years, but, I'm just, it's not like the 1.5 years is definitely going to help. All that, when there is something, you can always fight for it. You can even use your senator or an ombudsman and anyone to fight for this case. And there is very long, case histories that can always be done because most of the time, that happens. They leave the, the older ones saying that 21 years is crossed. But you have to have it supported with all the evidence. I hope, whoever did the 485 for you, the attorney will be able to just, help you out. And definitely you should be filing your 485J.
Because EB2 may move faster, right? Compared to
yes.
EB3.
You have an option, right? So why do you miss it? Nothing wrong. Just all that you have to do is to go for an interfiling and you should do it. Doesn't matter. Don't think that, whether it's going to go or not, it doesn't matter, just blocking the date for her onto the EB2 as well. So you should not be missing this opportunity till September. I hope they will continue till September, 30th, allowing people to, just file it as per the September bulletin.
But just last question, sorry. So, so I will not be putting my kid into trouble, right? Just because going into EB2.
No. You're not putting anyone in trouble. You should be doing it 100%. You have to do it, and just call
Okay.
us and let me know. I'll be very glad to,
Okay, sure.
know that
Okay,
at the
thank
point
you.
when it is going to get approved for your daughter as
Okay.
well.
Hi.
Okay, thank you.
Uh,
Yeah, thank you.
Hi, this is Santosh from Boston. Thanks for doing this, Mira. So my priority date is 2012 June, and I did downgrade in October 2020, and then later I interfiled also. But then I didn't get my green card yet. But recently I see that my 485 went to CRP status, and also today they approved 485J. What does that mean?
Yeah, actually, the 485J gets approved, prior to the approval of the final adjustment of status. In some cases, the 485J, as soon as the 485J gets approved we have seen it in a week or two. In the month of, July and August, they were approving it. But doesn't mean that, they have, a visa number allocated, and just because they approved the 485J doesn't mean you're going to get the 485
Yeah.
as well as approved. Doesn't mean it, but I'll be glad if at all they are going to approve it and they have any chance of visa, because they said there are very, very minimum visa numbers they are still holding on for whatever reason they might. And also the prior caller, right? I would say, ask him to, I don't know who was that actually, because I have a very
It was
corner,
Kumar.
21 years, because they lose everything and their fight is going to be very, just being over here, and then it's not easy. They have to convert themselves to the F1 and so many criteria. So I think you should call the senator and just file the 485J immediately and tell them that your just daughter or son is running out of time, and this is very crucial for them to take the case and do that actually.
Yeah. So it's
So,
485.
you mean to say, Mary, you mean to say on the existing one, EB3, she's logged anyway for
Yeah.
CSPA, but convert to EB2 and then
Yeah, but
go
you
to
don't have
senator?
final action dates on the EB3, right? You don't have it,
Right.
right?
Right,
Yeah,
right.
so
Yeah.
just go. You should have, gone for interfiling. I don't understand why you didn't do it, but I understand you said you didn't get to, or, you are not sure about it. But I don't know whether even if it's just 2 weeks more to be for the September 30th, just go ahead and file the interfiling even by tomorrow or something, and just contact the senator and then just tell them that this is the situation. And definitely, I won't be surprised if they are able to do it as well.
Okay, thank you.
So Mary, what does the 485 went to case remains pending? Like, what does that mean exactly?
I'm sorry, what is it?
So my 485 went to case remains pending.
Yeah, means, just it's pending for adjudication.
So does it mean that like all their checks are done and they're just waiting for the visa to be available?
Yeah, they are even stating it on there now. Recently, they started saying that, like your case, documentation towards it is completed, whereas the visa numbers are not available. So, they have different status being put in there. So just, it means, I don't want to assure you completely everything, based on their online status, because they have different status coming up. Earlier they used to do something called name and a verification done and everything. Means I assume that, like with the biometric, they had been clearing up the, the FBI and everything. So probably, I'm not sure, but it still remains pending. That's what I could assume.
Okay. Thanks.
So, Mary.
Okay, next we'll go with Sandeep. And maybe
Hey,
we'll
hi,
come back in a second. So just please don't mind me otherwise. Yeah, Sandeep.
Hey, hi. My priority date is May 2014, and like I interfiled 485J on August 2019. 2019. So in September first week, again the dates went back. So will it help to file interfile again in the EB2 category? Because like I heard like so many friends have worked interfile and refiled, they got the green cards. Like who are like even in the September 2014, they got the green cards.
The refile. I'm sorry. Can you ask me again? Like you did the refiling, or what is it?
No, I did the interfile. I filed the 485J.
All right.
Yeah, so I was thinking like whether if I refile in the EB2 category, will it help anything else? Will it help at this moment? Or
So what's the priority date?
May 2014.
So May 24th, and I'm just, and I don't think, refiling the 485 at this point of time is going to help. They don't have a visa number, and I'm just thinking, yeah, right, now you are eligible to do it on the September for a refiling completely, but May 2014, I'm just wondering, how it's going to help. No, I don't think there is more of a possibility. Then, in that case, anyway, you have done the interfiling, right? On the EB2 as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah, then it's fine. I don't think it's at this point, I wouldn't ask you to do that.
Okay, and I have one more question. Like I have the approved EAD and advanced payroll. Can I switch jobs now?
See, depending on other criteria and what kind of an like a relationship you have with your employer, and then there is another 485J to be filed with your new employer when it is a same or similar position that's available. Yeah, I have to get more details into that, but yeah, the legally speaking, yes, you can switch to the EAD.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hey Mary, this is Kalyan.
Thank you, Sandeep. Let's go with Nidhi.
Hi, Mary. One small question. So the I-485, does it have to be filed with the new employer as well if there is an already existing one with the old employer about 3-4 years back?
No, you don't have to do another E485. All that you have to do when you're switching the old employer and you're no longer with them, as long as it's filed, prior to 180 days, if you have your pending 485 for 180 days, as long as the new position is in the same and similar position, then all that you have to do is file it 485G.
Okay. Okay, and this H1 visas that can be extended indefinitely or only 2 times, like for 3 years and then another 3 years and then it's done, or it can be indefinite?
No, it can be done any number of times, as long as see, the one thing that, USCI is when the final actions are current is they've been extending H1Bs only for 1 year. Because your final action dates are current, they won't be doing it for 3 years, actually. I don't know whether anyone was in that situation. But, other than that, when the final action dates are not current and, you have your 485 just filed, it doesn't restrict you. Any number of times for a 3 years validity, you can extend your H1B.
Pujo, should you join now?
Next, thanks, Nidhi. And we have, there is somebody named VME Kala.
Hi, this is Venkat, V. Mekala.
Yeah.
You guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, Mary, this is Venkat, and I'm one of your client. And we got a couple weeks back, 3 weeks ago, we got green cards approved, but the dependents got their green cards. The cards got produced for them, and we received for the dependents. But as a primary applicant, my card is not yet produced. It still shows like the status case is approved, but card is not yet produced. What could be the reason, and what should I do?
That happens, Venkat. That's not a major problem. I'm just concerned because I know how long your wait is and everything. So I remember seeing your email, approved, and then I was just wondering. So that's not a problem. And if you don't get it right, you can just call the customer. So they might not encourage a call prior to 30 days after the approval, but that's just a very technical, like a lack. And then, they can always, as long as the case is approved, you're allotted a visa number and there's no, nothing that is going to, for them to do. All that they have to do is, and they have to verify whether the card has been missed or anything, and they are going to reproduce your card or issue another one. That's it.
So do I have to wait for 1 month, and after that I do?
I think so, they are not encouraged. Yeah, right. After 30 days, you can give a call to them and tell them, and then they will take the service request, and then they can, just do whatever they have to do.
Okay, thanks you. That's all I have.
Sure, Venkat.
Hi, Mary, this is Tangraj. Actually, my priority date is June 2014, and I got my I am I got my EAD and AP approved, and I got the card as well. And my GC has not moved forward. It says it is in received status. But there was a status change back in June. I applied in April, and in June there was a status change that for my dependent, my wife, they are looking for some additional evidence, but they did not mention what it is. We tried to call them, but we had the fingerprints the very next day. So we went there. The status changed to fingerprints were received. We tried to call them regarding what evidence you are looking for. Then they said, if the status has changed, you have to wait. You will receive it in mail. Then we thought, okay, the status has changed. It will, since we got the EAD and advanced parole, we thought it is moving forward. Now, when we called them again recently after the retrogression happened, they said there is some evidence being requested, so you do not provide the evidence. So it was like my wife's birth certificate. We provided the affidavits, my wife's parents' signature and everything in the stamp papers and everything, but still they a couple of maybe 1 week before, they sent a mail. After we called the customer center, they asked if we want to receive a duplicate copy. Then we said yes. They sent something by mail which states that they are looking for the birth certificate of my wife with.
But what's the date on that? That's more important. What was the last date to apply for it? It doesn't matter what the content is.
It said within 87 days we have to apply. I'm not sure about whether it is the business days or includes.
No, it's the calendar days.
Okay, I think it was like August 28, but we sent it on September 2nd. I mean, after the retrogression happened, we September. I mean, whatever the date the retrogression happened, we sent it on the next day. Because we had to apply back in India, we had to apply for the birth certificate. It took like 3-4 months.
Just go back, make it faster because like it's taking time, right? Okay, I got the point. So all
are you
now
expecting? Now we have provided the birth certificate. Is there any way this will move forward, or we have to wait?
No, you have to wait. Because see, even for people, so they, there's no way that, nothing can be done, so anyway, I'm very glad. All that I was very anxious was like, you didn't miss the date because, even though there is, COVID exception of 60 days has been allotted, I was a little more concerned that if you had missed, that's what I was just, waiting for. But again, whatever you applied for, that's not going to, you don't have a visa allocated for you. And so all that you have done is the RFE has been responded. So probably you have to wait. And then, one day after October, when it moves, you are going to see what's going to happen on that.
Yeah, in my case, I did not even receive the RFE by mail. They said
doesn't matter, honestly, right? All that matters for them is they have to have the numbers, right? I understand your situation, your concern, so who's the attorney you went with? Or I don't even want to know the name, but just I'm asking. So, somehow if you had been calling with a service request or something, they would have been able to give the notice of evidence, actually, the RFE notice.
Yeah, I went through you only, but I didn't receive the evidence. And when I tried to call their customer service, they said you'll have to wait. Since the status is changing, there is some background work going on. You have to wait. Then they abruptly disconnected the phone. Not sure whether they did it by intention or it got
at least you had said to us, or I was not aware of it, right? So something but I'm very glad that there are cases where the cases has been denied just because of, I understand, they changed it online, so you were assuming that it's not because of you don't have an evidence, and then it was not done or anything like that. But something that we should have been able to just to get it done. But I'm sorry, they won't honor this, even though you have submitted the evidence and everything now, because they don't have a visa number. It's not like something they are holding on to, but nobody can do anything actually.
Okay, one more small question is that what happens to the SSN number that we applied along with the green card.
Yeah, no, along with not the green card, it's with the EAD, right? EAD and AP will be continuing to be, you'll be getting it. It doesn't matter whether, you have applied for it, so you will be getting it.
EAD and AP I got. I am asking about SSN number for my dependents.
Come in, it takes time, a little more time than after you get the EAD. But based on the EAD, we always have applied for the SSN number, so it will come.
Okay,
Mary,
so
can
looking
I-
at the time,
can I have a
so
quick
we're
question?
almost touching at the top of the hour. So, so I know there are a lot of unanswered questions that we have.
Yeah.
So Pradesh, feel free to drop an email to Mary. Definitely. So, so we legal@mkimmigrationslaw.com, and so there is a phone number listed in the group. So feel free to write it out, and definitely we'll ensure to reach you back and then answer your questions. This is not only to Pradesh, to everyone. I know we have few other folks, so just extend to another 10 minutes. So Mary, is it okay?
Yeah, well, let me turn on the lights quickly. 1 second, Raj. I think, like 1 second.
Yeah. Yeah, guys. So I know. So there is a huge volume, of questions keep coming. So it's already, well, we passed almost an hour. We'll just try to
It was
10 minutes.
Monday, and it was a very long day. And I was even hoping, Raj, in the morning also, is it something you might want to, just drop it or change it or something. But, once I get into the call, I am, as usual, excited for the answers and everything. I know, like so many people, even we thought about it, right? Like, is it too late to have a session or something? But looks like, there are so many questions that can be addressed, and, like just to help them out, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Raj.
So going forward, probably we'll include the form to have the questions in, so that would be easy.
Yeah.
And we have Sandeep T. Sandeep.
Yes, this is Sandeep Tumla from Atlanta. I think Mary already knows me. So my case is I have applied EB3 downgrade in 2020 and it got denied. And later we applied in this June EB2. The denied
Sandeep, I understand. I got your case actually, because of the financial ability to pay on the I-140. The EB3 downgrade was, that was a very unfortunate situation. They just got it denied, and then we reapplied when the EB2 priority date got moved, right? Yeah, okay.
Now the question is, mine went to like NBC to Philadelphia field office on August 4th, and August 24th, they again sent it to Texas. Because is it because my underlying application EB3 is getting
no, actually your EB3 has no validity to it, Sandeep. And if I am right, we reapplied the complete 485 on the EB2, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So, like we cannot, there's no relying a factor onto the EB3 actually, because, the I-140 is the major, is the supporting the backbone of any 485. Without that, it cannot be moving along. So even though they denied the I-140 based on the ability to pay, actually, the 485 also should have been, like that doesn't have any underlying, petition to support it. So they should have, just to not consider that. And I wouldn't assume that is the reason they were moving. They were just moving back and forth on some of the petition applications, irrespective where it goes. And, they were just switching between most of them here and the field offices of somewhere else for a person who's in Detroit to somewhere else and everywhere. Wherever there's some availability, they were just doing it. So I wouldn't, see that, it's because of that. But what's the priority date, Sandeep?
Mine is 2030 November. So do I need to revoke the EB3? Do we need to revoke it to be in a clean set or just leave it, the EB3 140?
Actually, like maybe, after you're just, asking me. Yeah, can you mute? Because it's going to, others cannot hear the answer properly. Yeah, so in that case, I would say let's go ahead in this week to, Radhika, make a note of it. We'll withdraw this 485, why it's pending over there. And, it's, so just to make it clear, yeah, we can do that actually. It doesn't harm because it doesn't have an underlying I-140 to it at all.
And also they removed my interview behavior. That's what I found from T2 call. And I need to attend the interview, I guess, but they didn't schedule though. That's what the latest update I have.
Yeah, because the dates have gone back, right? So probably possible is like, they might not be scheduling it for a while actually. Till the dates can be moved back and then they might be doing.
Sure. Thanks for your time. Thanks.
So thanks, Sandeep. And so there are a lot of questions again, in the inbox. We've been, I think now now the inflow is kind of little controlled. KB and Amit, with if your questions are already covered in some of, if your cases are already covered in one of those questions, so I think you can feel free to drop off. Otherwise, if it is a pretty critical, pretty critical and simple, just shoot your question. Amit.
Sure. Can I go ahead?
Yes, please.
Thank you, Mary. So my issue, my status is I was in EB2. I have already approved. The number I changed to EB3, and both I have already approved. And I got EAD as well. Now I got 485 RFE with for medical. What's the next step? Do I need to again that 20 days? Do I need to interfile to EB2 or my date is September 14? Or just reply for the RFE, then wait when it become current.
I'm not okay. So the RFE is on what? Which one actually?
Exam.
Yeah, I understand, but which 480? Okay, so you did an interfiling of the EB2, right?
Yeah, I didn't do interfiling from EB. Initially, EB2 to EB3 I did, and I got for EAD approved, but AP approved. Sorry?
Okay. I'm not very clear on this question. Can you quickly reply to say that?
Yeah, my question is, do I need to? What's the next step? Do I need to just reply to the RFE and wait for the EB2 become current later, or within these 20 days is any advantage if I do interfile from EB3 to EB2?
Yeah, but why? Yeah, why you didn't do the interfiling from the EB3 to EB2 earlier?
Some paper from your attorney, so that's the reason we didn't interfile. So, do you recommend interfiling with these 20 days and be on queue, or just wait in EB3?
No. You should interfile when there is an option for you to interfile. Irrespective of which is going to go back and forth. Because what if the EB2 date of final action dates is going to be current only prior to your like a month? You should definitely interfile. I know there is a little scope, and interfiling is not, it's not so much of you're not paying the filing fees again. And whatever the minimum charges the attorney is going to ask, you're just going to do it. Just file it before the September 30th, and then address the RFE as well.
Okay, got it. Sure. Thank you.
Okay, all right, yeah.
Yeah, so I think we'll take question from KB, and I think we'll close the session for today. And again, guys, feel free to write an email to legal@mkimmigrationslaw.com, or you can ping us or Facebook us. So that way we can definitely get in touch with you and answer your query. KB.
Yeah, that's what I did. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, perfect. I think with that, we can call this up for today. We have a lot of questions that are unanswered. So again, guys, feel free to drop us an email. We'll definitely get back to you. So again, in the flyer, whatever we have seen, you have our contact details. You can reach out to us. So it is either legal@mkimmigrationslaw.com, or you can write it to feelfree@sora.media. Either way, we'll be in touch with you and we'll take it forward. We'll address all of your questions. Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, excuse us. Sorry, if you're not able to address all of your questions. I know. Again, I promised Ashish one thing. So before we hang up, so I just definitely want to address this part. Ashish Gosain has a point. I'm very sorry, Ashish recently lost his father. His mother is alone, and she is in India, and his perm is getting delayed. His question is are there any ways that he can to bring his mom here? With the B1, B2, it's only 6 months time, right? So with the current October visa bulletin update, so the dates have been retrograded. So now his question is are there any other options to bring his mom to
Yeah,
hear.
actually, quickly I can say this. I'm sorry to say this. There's no other option. So the only thing is, if for any other medical reasons, right, like, if your mom has and you're the only child, and then there's no other supporting siblings or anyone. So even though they come on a visitor visa, but again, it has to have a very strong medical reason. That's the only time I have seen them extending their visitor visa. Like even beyond 6 months and continuously, there is not more. The basic visitor visa cannot be extended more than a year. So you have to exit the country and come back in. But when there is a very strong medical reasons and there is no other, siblings to take care of the, like your mom. I'm sorry to hear about your dad as well. So in that case, there is an exception, but it's going to be very hard for you to, prove with all the evidence and everything. That's the only way I see that you can, just have her being you at least for a while. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for the answer. And I am the only child, so there are no siblings to take care of my mom. So, and as of now, she does not have any medical urgencies, but yeah, we were worried. And like, just one question more, like, is it possible to invest in EB5 category and bring her here somehow?
You can do that, but again, that's a very different, detailed answer. We are, doing it for a few people. We have started with all the situations going on, but definitely, you can send an email to us, and then we can schedule a call sometime, like the coming weeks, and then we can talk about it. Okay. And Raj,
Thank you so much.
excuse me quickly for this one question, which I felt was a little interesting from Swaminathan. In the last few months, USCIS has been processing petition applications randomly. That's very correct, actually. And but in the upcoming months, is there any assurance that we can't, like with the government agencies, as you can understand, we can't demand any kind of expectations onto them. But definitely, this was very not the typical USCIS. Even last year, what we saw was they were moving ahead with all the dates and everything, except with the Texas Service Center, where there was a very long delay onto the process. But again, it will be streamlined because they completed and they don't want to miss the visa numbers getting wasted. See, even though there is a lot of, disappointments for people because they are just doing it randomly, the approvals. But one thing you have to understand is they didn't base the visa numbers, which we have to appreciate that part of it, so that even if it's not for you, somebody has been approved, giving way for you to get your approval in the coming months, actually. So in that case, I would expect definitely a streamlined process moving forward from October of 2022. And Raj, I know, you just given a thank you note. I really appreciate. I know, how busy your schedule and with the PST and I being in CST, you always had been there to support when it comes to immigration. I know not everybody could do that. There are some, few times where they'll be interested initially and then, it never happens. But when the moment you said, can you do that? And I said yes to it without even knowing how it's going to be, or the schedule was a little tight for me as well, but still you made it happen. And I very much, I enjoy, addressing these questions, and I hope, it's helpful for people who wants to know about it. And thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, so today it's very, I'm very happy to see the numbers, so we just circulated the flyer this morning and the turnaround is like 100 plus. So definitely we want them to be subscribing to our newsletters, and definitely we'll stay in touch. And depending on your schedule, probably we'll plan to do next webinar, probably on the concurrent visas, or probably another student, so there are a lot of other topics that 82,000 plus students came in this year, the sponsored. So what can we do for that, right? So we can talk about in the next coming sessions. With that said, thank you all, guys. Thank you very much. So we are
thank you, Radhika, as well. This is after us for her as well. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks, Radhika. Thank you very much. So finally, I got to see you today. We will talk.
Nice to see you.
Yeah. Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please do subscribe and follow us. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Bye. Bye.